You're called upon to talk. If you want to speak, please raise your hand. I will call on you as I see the hand, and we'll go from that. But what I'm going to do is roll through each of the applications. I'm going to read what the board's office has received. And then I'm going to ask the applicant some questions and give them an opportunity to speak. So we'll roll through that. All right. Any questions as we begin?
Rob, I just have one comment.
Go ahead, Gail.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, is there any members of the press present?
Silence hopefully means they're not disclosing themselves. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. And I see Sharon Wedderburn is in the room. Great. All right. So Autumn Bar and Grill, thank you for coming. We've had some time trying to get you here, but I'm glad you're here.
Hello.
Thank
you for having us.
And who do we have tonight?
My name is Pierre. I'm the actual owner of Autumn's Bar, and this is Nancy Bernard, pretty much the coordinator. She's in charge of everything else, like operations.
Nancy Bernard, how are you?
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great. So we have Autumn Bar and Grill.
Yes. Might I add, we did send over an addendum this afternoon. There were a couple of letters that were incorrect and we needed to rectify it. I sent it over to Julia and she said it would be in the Dropbox.
Oh, good thing. Let me have a look at the Dropbox then, because I'm working from printouts.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Witherwax, it's the file in the Dropbox folder that's .tiff.
Thank you.
You, Julia, go back to the swab meeting.
That starts in 4 minutes.
All right. Let me zoom into this one. Great. So we'll work from this one. Thank you very much. All right. Autumn Bar and Grill, trade name, doing business as Autumn's Room, 626 Vanderbilt Avenue.
629.
629 Vanderbilt Avenue. Yeah. It's a bar, tavern, lounge with a looking for a liquor, wine, beer, and cider license. For those in the know, this is one half of the old soda bar that went out of business a couple of years ago. The other half is now number 7 restaurant, and we're programming the other half. Method of operations, check all that apply. Disc jockey, recorded music, karaoke, live music, patron dancing. You will have security personnel and you will have TV showings / sports games. Indoor service area, number of tables, 7. Number of seats at the tables, 22. Numbers of bars, 1. And seats at the bar, 10. So 32 seats, but maximum patron capacity, 74 based on the fire marshal. Your proposed hours of service are opening at 1 p.m. every day, 7 days a week, and closing at 2 a.m. every day, 7 days a week. Is it just that one page? Yeah, okay, good. Outdoor service areas. Yes, you will have a garden / grounds in the rear, correct?
Right.
Yep. And your proposed hours of service out there are 1 p.m. daily to midnight daily.
Oh, I think that's the wrong form, Mr. Witherwax. The first page was correct as far as the addendum goes. The second page was corrected today. The outdoor would be 1 p.m. asking for 9 to 10 p.m. on Sundays, 1 p.m., 8 to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. Friday and Saturday, asking for 10 p.m. closings for the front and the back.
Regrettably, that didn't come through in the Dropbox. I only got the first page in the Dropbox. So walk me through that again slowly.
Are you looking at a handwritten one?
Yeah, it should be handwritten.
I'm looking at cb8 application.tiff in the Dropbox here, Julia.
So let me go to the Dropbox, and if push, I don't know how I would be able to get it to you guys. I'll figure it out. Go back.
Let's just do it live. It's fine. Nancy, if you could just give me those numbers again.
So for the patio and deck, as well as the garden grounds, we were asking for a 1 p.m. open start and a 9 to 10 p.m. on Sundays. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. start, 9 to 10 p.m. at closing, and Friday and Saturdays 1 p.m. start, 10 p.m. closing. But of course, with the open streets, whatever times open street closed, we'd accommodate those hours as well.
Right. So we're specifically talking about your rear space here when we're talking about this. Open streets is open streets.
That's
And
correct.
it never goes later than we want it to.
Right. Exactly. Same here.
Yeah. Your own space is what we're really talking about. Okay. So essentially Sunday through Thursday nights close 9, maybe 10, and then Friday and Saturday close at 10. All right. We'll come back to that. Thank you. The entertainment options we talked about, there'll be a DJ, there'll be occasional live musics. Will there be amplified sound? Yes. The size and type of speakers are still under consideration, but the noise will be kept to a moderate background level. Will you have soundproofing? Yes. Soundproofing from the previous tenant. Type and placement specifics are unknown. We probably know more about that than you do.
Okay.
This establishment had a lot of, I'll warn you, this establishment had a lot of sound issues with its upstairs and immediate adjacent neighbors.
Yeah, we heard about that.
Yeah. So be warned. Wait staff, for wait staff, number of employees 6 to 8 with 3 security personnel. There are 2 residences in the building, and there are 4 to 6 residences in the buildings adjacent. And I do see in the Dropbox that you did post pictures of your notices for this meeting. Thank you very much. It's always good to see. Again, this is a building. Again, we're very familiar with this. There is a C of O, and there is a letter of no objection from the Department of Buildings that has permitted this type of establishment over time. What we do know is that since Soda Bar lapsed, and there's been no license here for some time, and now you're coming up, there are numerous establishments, 10 at least, within 500 feet of you. So you will be applying to the SLA for a 500-foot exception, right? We know about the density rules. Great. Did I miss anything critical in the application?
I don't believe so.
Great. Can I ask any of our community members, i.e. not committee members, any of the community members who are on the call, is there anyone here who wants to speak about Autumn Bar and Grill? Or have any questions about Autumn Bar and Grill?
I'm sorry, where's this establishment located? I just logged on and I'm not sure.
No, you're welcome. This is 629 Vanderbilt Avenue.
Very well,
Which is
very well. This is not, okay, great. This is not the one that I'm here to air my views on. Thank you very much.
No problem. Well, we'll announce them when we get to them then. Any committee members have any comments or questions on Autumn Bar and Grill, 629 Vanderbilt?
I have a question.
Mr. Puka.
Yes, live music, how many days a week? That's what I'm.
Oh, not days a week. It'll probably be something anywhere between maybe once or twice a month on a weekend. Not every day. But it doesn't mean that a weekday we wouldn't have an opportunity for an artist to showcase, but it wouldn't be like a consecutive schedule. No. And we plan on notifying our tenant, our neighbors of everything that's going on. We'll have everything posted, so everyone will be made well aware of everything going on in advance.
Thank you. Sharon Wedderburn, I saw a hand, but it seems to have disappeared.
Rightly so.
Okay. Anybody else?
Come to the camera.
Chair Weatherwax, this
Yes.
is Fiora Ortiz Joyner. I don't know if it was discussed or if it's somewhere in the Dropbox, but what type of menu?
Thank you.
What kind of restaurant?
So we are Haitian Caribbean. The menu will have an undertone of Haitian Creole, spices, and so we'll have mainly bar foods with a Haitian twist. So sliders, we'll have some delicacies from Haiti, like a chic thai, which is like a cod served over a fried plantain. We'll have, we do have a calamari. We have a variety of sliders, like I said. We have a mushroom option,
Upstairs,
a griot, a Haitian griot, which is one of our favorite types of meat to cook. So mainly, predominantly a Haitian twist, but mainly.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments or questions on this application? Mimi, Ms. Mitchell.
Hi, good evening, all. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so I did have some questions for the restaurant. Now, there was some mix-up in terms of you applying for the liquor license. What happened there?
What mix-ups exactly? Which
Oh,
one?
I'm sorry, that you've already applied and possibly been approved for the license, but you're coming now?
So
Is it in regards to us showing up to our meeting? The meeting.
Let me interject here
Yeah.
and explain, because you've been on our agenda for a couple months, and I know you spoke with the board office about this today. You've been on the agenda for a couple months, and I understand you were advised not to show up even though you got notices. At least that's the story that we have heard. So that's where we're coming from. We understand that you have already applied and submitted your application to the SLA, right? So you're in the process on that. So to return to Ms. Mitchell's question, where do you stand with the SLA? And is what I said substantially true? Were you advised not to show up to this committee meeting?
Thank you, Mr. Witherwax. That's it, exactly.
Thank you for your question, and it's perfect timing. Michael James, who is the representative with us, he's here. Maybe he can answer that question for you guys.
Yes. Good evening, everyone, and I will. When we first applied, there was a significant gap in communication, and my client was just not ready to prepare to present before the board, and so the application just sat for about 5 months. And although we were being invited to the meeting, initially I'd asked for us to be held over to the next meeting, hoping that we'd be ready, but we weren't ready, and so it just sat there. Once we did get ready, it was about a few months after, and the application was submitted in. Obviously, there was a 500-foot law hearing. I asked the SLA to hold it until we can meet with the board. That will proceed, and we'll get a letter on that after we've met with you. But there was no intentionality to circumvent the board. It was just a matter of we were just not prepared, or I was not prepared to present this application to the board at that time. Nancy was not a part of the company at that time. And now that she is a part of the company, I think it's been to the benefit of all of us, so that we can have a better sense of communication and direction. And so that is one of the reasons that, or a few reasons why we just did not come to the board. It was not an advisement not to come. It was just an advisement that I was not able to present the application to the board. And I told them if they'd like to come, they could. However, I did not think they were prepared at that time to present this application.
All right. Thank you, Mr. James. Thank you, Ms. Bernard. Committee, any comments or responses? Ms. Wedderburn, Sharon?
Good evening, Mr. James. I would never say that an applicant appearing before a committee would materially represent a position. And we understand, we're so excited about having a new opportunity to dine and to drink on Vanderbilt Avenue. And given the history of the establishment that was in your location, and the history such that not being good neighbors, loud, obtrusive, blah, 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 right? I wanted to know from Mr. James, the material miscommunication was with whom? And I want you to understand that we always welcome businesses into our community. You know, I am of the opinion, me as a committee member, me as a long-term resident, that the 500-foot rule is what compelled you and the applicant to come to this meeting this evening, right? But we're not going to hold you for any harm to that. But what we would like you to know, that if we are a community, you being a business, we representing possible patrons, we have to work together. And we've had businesses in the past that have not worked collaboratively with the community, and their businesses were not able to prosper. So I say this to you, Mr. James, when you have other clients within this community, always think of us as a partner and not an obstruction.
Okay, so and I thank you for that comment, I have been before your board, and I always come before your board. I actually come before every board that we're invited to, and you're one of the boards that are the most friendly. Now, I will, you did ask whether the material communication gaps. There was no communication, and so there was no way to really present, like tonight, present you with an applicant that could speak to the application of what they're actually operating. And if that is the case, I'm not able to represent the application properly, no matter how friendly you may be. And we did have that discussion once Nancy was a part of the company, as far as, it is a good idea to present yourself before the board and um, ingratiate yourself to community. However, I still was not prepared. That was the first time I spoke with Nancy, and so I still was not prepared to speak to you about it. And I did not know Nancy's involvement in the company. So now that we've had it, I'm sorry.
No, just I appreciate all this, but there's an order of operations here, and you know this, but we do too, right? You filed with the SLA in February. Your application shows a 2/23/23 date. I'm not trying to play gotcha or anything here, but I mean that's just the facts. You filed with the SLA in February, so we're receiving notices from the SLA in March and April, and now here we are in May. Lovely to see you. I just want to make sure that you understand that there was a crossed wire here.
Well,
That the order of operations was not followed.
So I'm not saying it wasn't. I think we notified you in 2022, though, correct?
Well, you got on our schedule somehow, so yes, you generally have to notice us.
Right, correct. So normally I would not wait months to prepare, to prepare and present to a board, and I would not have an application held over for 3+ months. That's not the regular order of operations, and so that signals. I'm just saying it speaks to what I'm saying, as far as there was just a breakdown in communication here.
So, Mr. James, I would just say, this is Miss Wedderburn again, communicate more and not less.
Oh, no. So I'm not saying. So here's the thing. I did not have the information to present to you. So it's, or maybe I understand you saying I should have told you, and this is what I did tell, the office to hold the application over.
We have a lot of
Yes.
applications that notice us and then never appear. But that happens a lot, as I'm sure you know. But what doesn't happen is applications that notice us don't appear, and then we see that they've filed with the SLA and are going forward with their 500-foot hearing.
And
We
that's my
feel
question.
sidestepped. And I don't want to hold it at all against the applicant. I take you at face value that this was a miscommunication, a crossed wire, as we say, and but we needed to clear the air about that. Ms. Mitchell,
Okay.
are you satisfied?
And
I guess where I was sort of confused with is that, and this is just probably my naivety from, just joining this board, is if you're ready to present or put the application into the SLA, then how come you can't be ready to present to us? Because isn't the information the same? Like, that's where I'm kind of confused with your answer, sir. I'm so sorry. If you wouldn't mind clarifying that for me, Mr. James, I'd appreciate it.
I want it. So firstly, no, the information is not exactly the same. There is much more information that goes into actually your questionnaire than would go into the SLA application, believe it or not. So it's a little easier to represent the application. However, I just, just to clear the air, I do want to apologize. I will take full responsibility for it. Obviously, I know the process much more than my clients do, and so that was my call to make, and we did move forward without advising or meeting with the board. That won't happen again, hopefully, and hopefully it's not to the detriment of my client.
Thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time to answer that, because like I said, I was just confused about the whole thing. So I'm glad that you took the time to clarify to the committee, and I just want to echo what Mr. Witherwax and Ms. Wedderburn said. We welcome you as a business. We're happy to have you here. We're happy to support. It was just that thing that really got us confused. So anyways, I'm glad that we got that cleared up. Can I move on to my second question, which is about the outdoor space?
Yes.
Yeah. As Mr. Witherwax was saying, there were complaints when it was soda about the outdoor space and the noise there, et cetera. Were you able, and you've told me that you're able to meet with the neighbors. Is that who came up with the closing time for the backyard? Like, how was that determined, and how are you going to be doing that? Because also on the application, I think it says 9, 9 or 10. What did you settle on?
So we didn't meet with anyone, but we thought we'd come up with with some type of projection of an idea as far as time goes. And after the meeting, based on what the board would suggest to us in regards to the experiences in the past, we go from there according to what they thought would be feasible. Because again, this is kind of a new space for us, and we don't entirely know exactly what the issues were. Was it too much traffic? Was it too much noise? Was it just the idea that the back was just open? So we don't know exactly what the specific issues were to really say, well, if it's based on these concerns, then we should go at 8 o'clock, or if it's based on just, something that's a little bit more broad spectrum, then maybe we can do a 10 o'clock on a Saturday, or maybe on a Friday evening. So we really just put a number out there and took a chance and to see what the board would allow us to play with. It's really our objective here in regards to the noise and the traffic is really to to be considerate of the neighbors. At the end of the day, our business in its bulk is inside. Outside is a plus. It is a bonus. It's psychedelic. It's an extra, but that is not the bulk of the business. So neighbors trump, having these extreme hours of operation.
Thank you so much for that. May I ask also what would be the occupancy of that outside space?
I may have skipped that. I apologize. 22 seats.
Yeah, I didn't hear it. I'm sorry?
22.
22. Okay, Mr. Witherwax. So I guess after hearing that answer, I would like to suggest, and I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but maybe we would do the outdoor for Friday and Saturday to, like, for the license sake, 11 p.m., but ask the business to close at 10 p.m., the outdoor space, and then during the week, do the license to 10 p.m. and ask them to close at 9 p.m. Is that something that I can do, or that's just my suggestion as a starting point?
Let me just reiterate and make sure that, again, we're talking here. We haven't made a motion yet. So you're saying the indoor versus outdoor. You want the indoor to close?
No, forget the indoor.
Okay.
I didn't. Yeah, just all outdoor is all I'm speaking about. Is the outdoor.
So again, your distinction between service and closure, generally we just sort of say closed by, right?
Right. Why I'm saying it this way is that I'm thinking if there's they can have it on their license, and then if all goes well, which is what we're anticipating, and that we don't have the neighbors complaining, then they'd be able to maybe increase that time later on. So that's kind of why I'm saying, okay, the SLA application, one thing, but the community board, let's have this agreement here, see how it goes, and then possibly increase it if that's what they need to do. Anyways, that's just my suggestion. I will let you take over from there, Mr. Witherwax, because I know you understand what I'm trying to say.
I do.
Thank you.
And I want to say, look, I'm glad the proprietors are listening, because I think that sums up a lot of what the community wants to say about. Thank you for your sensitivity, first and foremost. The very fact that you're thinking about this puts you ahead of the class of many other applicants who come before us. Let me hand it over to, I see Mr. Vacconi and Ms. Ortiz Joyner, and then we'll come back around. Gib, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I just wanted
I believe my hand was raised first.
Oh, I'm sorry, Fiora. I was toggling screens, so I didn't see who came in first. Gib, do you mind if Fiora goes first?
No, I don't mind at all.
Thank you. I understand Ms. Mitchell's concern, but I just want a little clarification. When Ms. Mitchell is mentioning the patio space, am I correct?
Yes.
I just want to say there is a difference.
Okay, and I understand Ms. Mitchell's concerns, but at the same time, I wouldn't want this establishment to be shortchanged. Like, what are the hours for other patios in the back? Like, why should they have an earlier hour than everybody else?
May I answer that, Ms. Ortiz?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, which is exactly why I made the suggestion as I did, in terms of putting on the, having them close an hour later on the license, which is kind of in line with everybody else and also their application. But it's not so much of a penalty to have them close the hour earlier. It's because this particular spot has had a lot of noise disturbance complaints in terms of the past owners, and I guess also because of how the noise travels in that outdoor space. So it's asking them to, what I'm asking for is nothing that they haven't written on their actual application. It was actually not even an ask, it's more of a suggestion on how to overcome this issue. So it would be having them close at, they had put on their application between 9 and 10. So in the first year, what I'm saying is on the application, keep the closure at 10 and ask them to close at 9. If it, and this is on the weekdays, if there are not a lot of complaints or everything is worked out with the neighbors, then on the next renewal, increase it back to 10 or later, depending on how the neighborhood goes. And I also say this for the applicant's benefit, because in order for them to do well in the neighborhood, they don't, I'm sure, like as they've already expressed their concerns, they don't want to start off on the wrong foot with their neighbors. So a 9 o'clock close is so innocuous, like nobody can really complain about that, even if they're loud as forever, you know, as whatever. A 9 o'clock close would probably ingratiate them with their neighbors. That's just my thinking behind
Thank
my
you.
suggestions.
Thank you.
Thank you. I see Mr. Vacconi and then Ms. Rosato.
Hi, before I make my question, can I just confirm, are the applicants are seeking a 10 p.m. close outdoors in the rear yard, Sunday through Thursday, 11 p.m. Friday, Saturday, is that correct?
No, they had put 9 to 10.
Hold on, Ms. Mitchell, let's let the applicants answer
Oh,
that.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
So on Sundays, it was a 1 p.m. start with a 10 p.m. Closing in the backyard, in the garden. Monday through Thursday, we were asking for a 1 p.m. start, 9 or 10 p.m. close in the garden. Friday through Sunday, 1 p.m. start, 11 p.m. Closing in the garden. And I say Friday and Saturday because I believe in the front, open streets, I think goes till 11. Is that correct?
No, Vanderbilt closes at 10.
10. So 10. So it would be 10 for the Friday and Saturday, the same times for open streets. If that's feasible. It's just an ask. And of course, like I said, we're open to the suggestions of what works best for the neighbors. But this is where we thought would kind of like keep us in a safe space and not shortchange us by asking these hours. Because
Okay.
like I said, we don't necessarily know what previous issues were had with the previous owners, and we don't imagine that they're necessarily going to be ours. So
Right.
that's why we didn't exactly come in with the notion of shortchanging ourselves, because we may never encounter any of the issues they had.
Right. I mean, so if I may, I'm inclined to sympathize with that statement. I don't believe that we should automatically saddle a new operator with the sins of the last operator. I don't think these applicants have any connection to the people who ran Soda Bar before, and I don't really see a reason to assume that they're going to operate in the same way. So I wouldn't hold the previous history against them, and I do believe that a 10 p.m. close outdoors is consistent with what the board has generally approved in the past. So I would be supportive of that as a closing time, again, because I don't think they have any connection to the previous owners, and it is consistent with the board's prior actions. Thank you.
Celine Rosato, then Brian Saunders.
Hello, this is Celine. I just want to thank Nancy for coming on board to this location. I think she'd be a great addition to the neighborhood, and her proposed hours and programming seem fitting for the location. And I would absolutely support the 10 p.m. for outside across the board. And just being forward thinking and community forward thinking. Yeah, I don't think 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. inside. 10 p.m. outside and 11 p.m. inside is a hard ask. And I just want to, show that I appreciate her for thinking about all of those issues beforehand and being mindful.
Thank you, Ms. Rosado, Mr. Saunders, and then back to Ms. Mitchell.
Hey, good evening, everyone. As you know, I agree with Gib and Celine also, and also being a former business owner of Vanderbilt also, I think 10 p.m. across the board will be just fine. We can't hold up the new owners or pass, but I think 10 p.m. across the board Monday through Sunday should be granted. And if I'll make a motion on it right now too.
Please do, Mr. Saunders.
I'd like to make a motion that we support this application with across the board 10 p.m. backyard closing. And does everybody else agree, or anybody have anything else to say?
I'll second that motion.
Ms. Letterburn, thank you. All right, there is a motion on the floor. We can still take comments and questions on the motion. And I just want to note, I do need to go back to the providers for one thing. I do need to hear, just for the record, a 500-foot exception commentary. But let's, does anybody else, I saw some hands go down.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to speak to that?
Mr. Witherwax, I was next. So, yeah, I guess it seems like only you're the only one who understood a little bit of what I was saying. I actually think that, so I'd like to amend then Mr. Saunders' motion so that the applicant can have a Friday and Saturday 11 p.m. close. Because that is what, I'm sorry, Ms. Saunders, you're shaking your head. No, you don't want an 11 p.m. close?
Even when I was there, it was always a 10 o'clock close in the back. And I'll give them correct.
11 goes beyond outdoor standards for almost every other establishment in the community. So 10 is good. 10 is good.
Okay. All right. I didn't want them shortchanged. I wanted them to have the 11.
No, I appreciate that. But well, I think we're giving them their full change. Can I just go back to Ms. Bernard and Mr. Paul?
Yes.
500-foot exception. What makes you unique? What value are you going to bring to Vanderbilt Avenue that doesn't already exist, that means we should give you a 500-foot exemption and pack an extra full liquor license into a few blocks of Vanderbilt?
Thank you very much.
Your part.
Question, a long-winded one, but
well, like down here on Vanderbilt, this is pretty much new. If you guys know, like, not too many Caribbean and Haitian in this area. A few years back, I remember, like around like in the 80s, there was a lot of Caribbean in this area, Haitian for particular. But things kind of changed as Brooklyn grew. But right now,
that's what we want to bring. We plan on bringing the Haitian culture diaspora. It's really just having an imprint and having an opportunity to allow some of the artists that we know, be it music, be it the artwork. We plan on having like different opportunities for like art galleries, mainly music and dance, and with everything Haitian that comes with it, and we allow the community to be part of that. That's just what it is. And just a togetherness for everyone and good vibes.
all right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Ms. Gibbs, I see your hand, and then I'm going to call for a vote on the motion. Ms. Gibbs.
I just ask for you to please repeat the entire motion, because I see that we're getting confused with the indoor space versus the outdoor patio space.
Certainly.
We got to be sure and clear on the outside front open streets thing, but please state in the motion the clear cutoff time for the backyard versus inside of the location. Thank you. That was all.
You stole my thunder. So where the motion on the floor is to provide support for Autumn Bar and Grill, 629 Vanderbilt Avenue, a bar or tavern with a liquor, wine, beer, and cider license. There will be substantial indoor entertainment. We're looking at 32 seats for a maximum patron capacity of 74. They're looking for an indoor close of 2 a.m. across the board, opening at at 1. So again, we're talking liquor service, 1 to 2 a.m., 1 p.m. to 2 a.m.
What does it mean?
All outdoor spaces, I'm taking this to mean any outdoor space in the rear of the establishment will close at 10 p.m.
And that's
That
Monday
means
through Friday?
that's 7 days a week.
All
That
right.
was the motion on the floor. 7 days a week, 10 days, 10 p.m.
Nice.
And again, to go back to what Ms. Mitchell said, and I don't want to muddy the waters here anymore. If you are a good steward of your license, as Mr. Ellis used to say, you can come back to us and ask for more time. And if you have a clean sheet, we can talk. We can have that conversation then. But again,
Thank you.
we're not
That's what I
holding
was
you
trying to say.
accountable for the sins of the prior establishment. But on the other hand, once bitten, twice shy, right? All right. Any other final questions before I call the roll and go on to the next? All right.
We get to leave once we're done, or do we stay?
You can leave, but you better come back next Thursday.
Oh, absolutely. We'll be
So
here.
yeah, so we're going to vote, presuming it's a yes vote. The committee will have supported you, and other applicants listen in. Then on Thursday, I want to say it's the 11th of May. Is that correct?
That's correct. Same time at the
Thursday, the 11th of May at the Co-Cathedral of St. Joseph on Dean Street will be our full board meeting in person. Please plan to show up or send a representative. The full board will vote on the committee's motion. All right. And then that constitutes your community board appearance.
Excellent.
So let me return to the roll. Gail Branch Mohammed.
Yes.
Thank you. Diane Duke.
Yes.
Thank you. Tamika Gibbs.
Yes.
Thank you. Jennifer Jordan. Thank you. Zerzima Jordan.
Yes.
Thank you. Mimi Mitchell.
Yes.
Thank you. Roger Myers.
Yes.
Thank you. Fior Ortiz Joyner.
Yes.
Thank you. Robert Puka.
Yes.
Thank you. Brian Saunders.
Yes.
Thank you. Mark Thurton. Ethel Tyus. Gib Viconi.
Yes.
Thank you. Irsa Weatherspoon is excused. Sharon Wedderburn.
Yes.
Thank you. Robert Witherwax, yes. Deborah Young.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes. 13 in favor, no abstentions, no opposition. If I didn't call your name and you think you're a member of this committee, this is the roster I was given. We'll take it up afterwards. People may gain and lose voting rights based on attendance. So we'll come back to that after the meeting. Thank you. Congratulations, Autumn Bar and Grill. Glad you finally showed. It was worth it. And I hope you have the most success going forward. We'll see you next Thursday. All right, moving on to item number 2 on the agenda, which is Jack and Dolly's, 84 Rogers Avenue, between Prospect and Park. Dane Risch.
Yes, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good, thank you. Are you alone or are you bringing
My partner
representatives?
Palmer is here as well.
Who is that?
My partner Palmer is here as well. He's just muted.
Great, gotcha. Thank you, Palmer.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm here as well.
Awesome. So same drill. I'm going to walk through the application and then we'll make any comments you want, and then we'll go to the public for any comments, and then the board will formulate a motion and we'll vote on it. So we have Dane Risch of Jack and Dolly's LLC. Do you guys have a trade name yet for the business?
Yes, it's Cousins.
All right. The address is 84 Rogers Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11216, again, between Park and Prospect. This is a restaurant looking for a full liquor license, liquor, wine, beer, and cider. We have we have recorded music in terms of internal entertainment. Inside, there are 13 tables of 28 seats, 1 bar with 12 seats, and a maximum patron capacity of 60. The proposed hours of operation to open at 4 p.m. and close at 11 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. To open at 4 p.m. and close at midnight on Friday. And then Saturday, open at 9 a.m. and close at midnight. Oh, and Sunday, open at 9 a.m. and close at 11 p.m. So sort of staggered in terms of the closing hours, Sunday through Thursday, closing at 11, Friday and Saturday, closing at midnight. And the opening hours are 4 p.m. during the week and 9 a.m. on the weekends. And again, those are liquor license service hours. The establishment may be open, but not serving at different times. You do have an outdoor space. This is a gardens grounds. This is in the rear. Yes, correct?
Correct.
So the hours of, the number of tables for outdoors are 10 tables with 20 seats, a maximum patron capacity in the space of 30. Your proposed hours of operation match the indoor precisely. So again, opening Monday through Friday at 4, opening Saturday and Sunday at 9, closing Sunday through Thursday at 11, closing Friday and Saturday at midnight. So you may suspect we may come back to that. That's the only outdoor space. There will be no entertainment options inside. You do have amplified sound. There'll be 4 speakers, ceiling mounted, 100 watts each. There is sound attenuation, insulation at the ceiling level with quiet rock drywall sheeting at ceiling and walls wherever possible. Staff and security, you're going to employ 10 people, a bartender, a barback, 3 wait staffs, 3 cooks, 1 manager/maitre d'. No security personnel, but security measures, camera and alarm system. There are no residences in the building where the premises is located. Is that true? There's nobody upstairs?
There are 2 other units, but we use them as like offices. We don't. There's no other tenants living on the premises.
Great. And there are 4 units to the building to the left of you and 2 units to the right and 0 in the rear. Again, this address, responding to the chat, is 84 Rogers Avenue between Park and Prospect. Did I get everything substantially right? Your submission did include photos of the notice, so I appreciated that. Thank you. And the floor plan, and we got a few letters as well. So you guys are also involved with King Thai Bar, right? Bar Bertrand, is that correct?
That's us.
Yes,
Great.
correct.
So we got a letter of support from the manager of Barbara's Flower Shop across the street, saying you've been a good neighbor for more than 10 years. A youthful clientele, youthful white collar under 50 clientele, youthful and under 50. Good, I still have some time. It has never been associated with loud and unruly crowds. Fully accepted by this neighborhood of homeowners and longtime apartment dwellers. So hopefully you're seeking to clone whatever that is in your new location. We did get some other commentary from the Rogers Avenue Block Association membership, who are concerned about the, we'd like to support this application, and asked him to share his business owners indoors and for the patio, which he did. Again, the neighbors are mostly concerned about the hours of operation for the backyard patio, as they'd like to remain outdoors till 10. And again, as we know, this block is highly residential with mostly working families, school-age children, and seniors. We'd like to limit the patio hours to this new business to 9 p.m. This is the same timing that Catfish, another one of our favorite establishments, was permitted. So we can maintain this standard closing time to any other backyard patios that open up. Catfish is up for lease and may have a new tenant. And I know we have a few members of the Rogers Avenue Block Association with us here tonight. So read into the record. I'll open the floor up to community members, not committee members, who may want to speak on this 84 Rogers Avenue. Yes, Ms. Bowen.
Hi there.
How
Yes,
are
my
you?
name's Elaine. Thanks, Mr. Witherwax. Hi, Palmer. Hi, Dane.
Hi.
I met
Hi,
Dane
how are you?
yet. I'm here representing Rogers Avenue Block Association. Joining me is Carlos Rock, my husband, Martin, Felix, a neighbor, and actually the next door neighbor to the new space at 84, and Mark Dean, another neighbor. So it's a primarily residential block. There's, laundromat, medical facilities, and probably about 200 people that live on this block. As many folks know, the interior of these blocks are like green donuts that are like echo chambers. I should preface by saying, we wholeheartedly support entrepreneurship and new businesses moving into the neighborhood and the block. We want to support, obviously, that kind of economic development. I'm also going to say I'm a little surprised. We reached out to you, Palmer, to say we want to support your business and ask you for your hours. You told us you wanted to close at 10 p.m. So a little surprising to hear today that you actually asked for midnight. That's very unfortunate. If we're going to have open lines of communication, that you would tell us it was 10. I'm very disappointed to hear that, actually. So, we spent a lot of time the last 10 years with neighbors, understanding the demographics, working families, seniors, school-aged children, folks who have to sleep at night. And we support your application, but the backyard, really consensus is that it closes at 9, certainly not midnight. 9 is really recommended for this area. I know Martin's here, and so is Mark, and I'm sure they have additions.
Yeah, if I could just interject for a minute. Thank you, Elaine. Good seeing you. I'm actually, there's a little bit of a misunderstanding here. And I didn't have any intention to mislead anyone. In fact, I thought that I was pretty sure that we had put 10 o'clock on the rear yard garden area. Dane and I we're bar and establishment owners in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I know King Ty for sure. I've
We
been there.
knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. We weren't expecting to stay open in the yard till midnight. So I think that's just I'm not sure exactly what page that part of the application was, but
Okay,
yeah,
fair enough.
we everything that I said to you guys and I've communicated to you over email is still totally stands. That's our expectation.
Okay.
We're I
So,
mean I live
I have a question, Palmer. So the documentation in front of the SLA has midnight on it, or 10 p.m. or 9? Like, what's the documentation have?
Yeah, so there's a separate page for the rear yard versus just the overall hours, I believe. And let me just here. Our intention was the 11 o'clock close on weekdays and the 12 o'clock close on the weekend. Our intention was for that to be referring to the inside only.
Yeah.
Again,
okay,
this is
that's
a
great.
this is a King Tide might sometimes be open later than that, but this is a restaurant, so we're not going to be.
Yeah,
It's
we have
not like
no problems at all with indoor hours. We discussed and again, want your business to thrive. So I know those hours are essential. Absolutely.
yeah.
4 hours.
So for the yard, we were hoping, as I mentioned, and actually I had a couple emails back and forth. I've been in touch just for the board as a whole's knowledge. We've been in touch a little bit over email, and I know some of the neighbors that live right next door, and I actually live myself since 2003, a block and a half away on Park Place between Nostrand, New York, and have kids of my own as well. So I understand the concerns, and I also have been in touch with the folks on the block, and they've already raised the concern about a 10 p.m., which is what I initially put forth. And Dane and I are amenable to something a little earlier than that. Obviously, we don't want to be like rushing people out of there, but we also don't want to be driving our neighbors crazy either. So maybe we can do something like what I heard go on with the previous applicant, where we're technically closing at 10, but we're ceasing to serve at 9, or we're trying to sort of wrap. There needs to be a little bit of a buffer there, because no one out there at all at 9. Any business owner would tell you that means you're sort of not serving people and discouraging them from continuing to hang out there, starting sort of at like 8, right?
Yeah.
So
let me interject here, just from the point of view of what this committee likes to do, which is we don't want to get too much up into your business with how you run your business.
Understood.
We just want to draw a bright line where there will be silence after that line. So, if you wanted to start moving things out at 9:30, that's up to you. We're not going to do a motion that mandates that. We're going to stick to our usual script, which is to say, look, closed, no more service, no noise by X time, right? So that's the framework we're gonna probably end up with here. Given that, I'm hearing some why don't you guys think about the time, and I'm going to go around, and there's a few other people with their hands up, and we'll come back to this. Mr. Felix.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity. And Palmer, it's been great, talking to you over the months, and I think quite some time now. Yeah, we were also. I echo first of all Elaine's sentiments, and we really would like to push back even to the 9 o'clock for the outdoor. We don't care about the indoor really. There's not much we can do, but as far as the outdoor patio, we, my wife and I, we have two high school kids. They study late at night. They're very hard workers. I mean, in terms of they're being very studious. I'm also a high school teacher, and I know there's another teacher in the building right next to us. We study a lot, work hard, and wake up early. And I think it's true for most people on the block. And this, as you know, is it's not just a commercial strip. It's residential and commercial. And I think compromise is necessary and essential for both you as the operator of this business in this densely populated urban community, and for the residents. And so we're really concerned about the late hours. In general, not much we can do about the indoor, as I said before, but the outdoor, we really would like to curtail, would like to plead to this board to, curtail your operation time to 9 p.m., latest. We're also concerned about, smoking. Are you going to be having smoking in the outdoor area? I mean, or just smoking period. So something that we're really concerned about. We're all health conscious, and as we get older, the health concerns are even greater, and it becomes more expensive. And we really don't want to take any risk for us. And we also altruistic, individuals. We're concerned about the community as well. We think smoking is a problem, and so also in terms of loitering on the steps, we are very concerned about what will happen as more and more people will be, gathering at the establishment, and we really would like to appeal to you to put some regulations in place that people are not like loitering on our steps, and we'll do the best we can in other respects as well. But anyway, that's my concern. This, as I said, a very, very hardworking community will really love you to understand that compromise is necessary, and we'll talk further about this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Felix. Mr. Dean, Mark Dean, and then I'm going to open it up to the board, the committee.
Yeah, hi everyone. Sorry, my camera has chosen this moment to pack in, so sorry that I'm a black space. I'd really just wanted to support what Elaine and Martin has said. So we live right next door to Catfish. We ended up having, I think, an extremely productive and friendly relationship with them. But they did indeed have a hard stop on their bar at 9, and that seemed to work very well for all concerned. As Elaine said, it's very echoey back there. It's very hard to keep the noise down if there are people out there enjoying themselves. So yeah, all I really am doing is reinforcing the points that Elaine and Martin make, that we look forward to welcoming the business. I think a hard stop at 9 has worked for businesses in this area in the past, and I hope would also work for you guys as well.
Thank you. Do I have any questions from the committee members? I see Ms. Rosado in the chat is observing Catfish is actually right. It's the next block up, right? It's between Prospect and St. Mark's, correct?
No, it's the same. It's the same.
Is it the same block?
It's the same.
Yeah.
Block.
Well, yeah, and it's the patio is at the back as well. So there are like two. There will be like two patios, like really two buildings, two building spaces away from each other. And there's a lot of echo in that in that area. Once Catfish is open, you know, my daughter has to close her window every time.
Thank you. My mistake. It's been long enough since we had to deal with them. I couldn't remember the exact cross streets, and now they're closed, as you say. Any other comments, questions from the committee? All right, Mr. Palmer or Mr. Risch, how do you want to respond to the questions about smoking and loitering?
Sure, I much appreciate that comment. We certainly won't permit anyone to loiter on anyone's property, steps, anything like that, of course. There won't be any smoking in the rear yard. It's likely to have a cover if all goes according to plan, which would kind of create which would just make it one space, and we wouldn't want that space to be a smoking space, so it would be a non-smoking space. In the front, I suppose there would be times where people would be doing that outside. We would always have, if not a host directly by the door, then a bartender close enough to the door to be able to police, so to speak, outside, make sure it didn't get loud or, too many people or smoky or something like that. That helps alleviate the concern at all.
Certainly. And perhaps I missed it in the Dropbox, and I apologize. Did you have a menu or anything like that?
I don't know if we've uploaded it. We had a play menu, like a working menu so far, but I don't know if it's there.
I believe we did put it. I believe we did email it over. I don't know if it went to the Dropbox or not, but we emailed it over.
Okay. Did I see any other hands? Absent any, can anyone care to make a motion on Ms. Mitchell, Mimi?
Sorry, excuse me, sorry about that. So I just wanted to ask, I guess it's Mr. Palmer. So how do you feel about the neighbors asking for that 9 o'clock close? I'm trying to see if we can work that out here before we pass the motion. Your neighbors are asking for a 9 o'clock, and that's also what the other business is observing. How do you feel about that for your place?
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes a long way with us. I mean, I've spoken in person many times to Martin and others, and Carlos more recently, and yeah, I mean, like I said, I live right around the corner, and we certainly want to do something mutually beneficial. Sorry again about the misunderstanding earlier. And yeah, I think 9 o'clock is gonna sort of need to work back there because it sounds like that's the going. That's what's sort of typical at the moment on the block. So we certainly don't want to be, the night owls. I think, I think while it is all the comments that Martin was making about having working families on the block, I take that to heart. I also think that, these and I know the board knows this. I mean, these kind of small businesses also can be, something that's really enriching for the neighborhood, like, it's going to be, it's obviously not just another home, but hopefully it'll be, a business that we can add, something to the block and not just be a place that makes noise, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Can you quickly tell us, I'm sorry, can you just quickly give us an example of how it would be beneficial?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for one thing, we're gonna employ people that live in the neighborhood. We're gonna have young people, be bartenders, barbacks, waiters, anything like that. It's a place where kids and parents can go for a special night out, for a dinner. The community board could say, "Hey, it's the last meeting of the season. Let's go have dinner somewhere local. Let's go to this spot." I mean, I think that restaurants and gathering places can contribute quite a bit.
On a very, very basic level, I mean, we'll have lights out front to some extent, a light potentially. We will have cameras. We will have people occupying a space that hasn't been as occupied, that, just more like more eyes and ears on the outside as well. I mean, if that's any consolation to anyone, those kinds of things can be helpful in a residential area.
Great, thank you. I will note a response to the question in the chat. This building shows up as a church. Yes, there is also in the Dropbox folder, there is a permit. You've applied to do an alteration type 1 to remove the existing 3-story, for the renovation, not removal, excuse me, of an existing 3-story building from a church on the first floor with 2 dwelling units above to an eating and drinking establishment on the first floor with 2 dwelling units above. So they've amended the C of O to permit you to do that. So you're doing everything legally. And the next comment in the chat I saw was a request, a reasonable request to place signs, to be courteous to the neighbors, to place signs for no smoking, you know, good establishment management. I see Miss Wedderburn's hand.
Late question. Do you gentlemen own the building or are you leasing?
You own it, yes.
You own the building, yeah.
Well, a bank owns it mostly, but
Hopefully a
most people
solvent
that
bank.
mortgages.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. So hopefully your rent won't go up too high. Any other questions from the assembled? Ms. Bowen, your hand is up. Is that a new hand or a vestigial? You're on mute.
Earlier was sticking, I'm sure, but so so you're going to have 2 apartments or dwelling, like residential units above the commercial property? Is that the plan?
Right now we're using those units as like offices, basically. Like I have my own business out of those spaces. So, and sure, like our friends and sometimes family will stay up there, but they're not
Oh, no, there's no right or wrong answer. Just curious that, it's not going to be a bar, 3 floors. There's residential or office space, whatever you're planning on the upper floors.
Yeah, that's right. It's just the first floor. That's correct. Yep. First floor is the restaurant.
So sure too, if it wasn't clear earlier, so Mr. Felix lives directly beside this church that was very active for the first 10 years of me living on the block. Folks, coming, it was a real community hub. So that space has been quite active for a long time, but Martin's got the most kind of like, he's right there. He's been living there for over a decade with his family. So I'm about 5 doors down.
Great.
And just to clarify, just so there's been some miscommunication. Obviously, it happens. But Mr. Weatherwax, can you see the application with the closing times for the patio?
So what happens tonight? Unlike our previous applicant, they have not applied to the SLA yet. So there is no clock that's started. So what will happen tonight is somebody on this committee will make a motion. I dare say they will make a motion to amend the application as submitted to close the outdoor space at 9 p.m. I'm just guessing there.
That's
and then
my
we'll vote
motion,
on that.
Mr. Witherwax. Go ahead.
Sorry.
That's my motion.
Ms. Mitchell's gonna make that motion.
Okay, that's great. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page. We're talking about the same thing. We're all looking at the same documents. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So going forward, when presuming it passes tonight and presuming it passes next Thursday, we will send a letter to the State Liquor Authority that says, here are the circumstances under which we approved this application. Closing the backyard at 9 p.m. Right? Then the SLA does what the SLA will do with that. And what we've done our part. But most of the time, they tend to abide by what we, or honor at least what we've suggested. All right. Ms. Mitchell has made a motion to support the applicant as presented with this.
Sorry, Mr. Witherwax, before we do that, I did want to also thank the community members for coming out and for voicing their concerns and their opinion and for joining this meeting today. Just want to let you know that we listen and we hear you. And also really wanted to compliment the applicants for also listening to their neighbors and trying to adjust and making those changes to accommodate them. And just wanted to say thank you to both of you.
Thank you as well for allowing us. We really believe in this kind of civic engagement, and just really love to see it function the way it has.
This is a lot. It may seem acrimonious at times, but this is a lot better than doing it the other way around when there's been a problem and we didn't get out in front of it. There's a motion on the floor from Ms. Mitchell, but I see Ms. Mohammed's hand.
Yeah, just want to As Block Association President of the 1200 D Street Block Association, we've had several events at King Tide, and they've been excellent community partners. There's a community garden next door, and they were also involved with the community garden. So I second Mimi's motion, and I do support the business.
Thank you, Ms. Mohammed. Motion to support with the sole amendment to close the backyard at 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Your opening hours are your business. And seconded by Gail Branch Mohammed. Any comments or questions on the motion?
Can we have a specific time on the opening of the hours, please, just for the record?
Sure. For the record, the indoor hours of operation, opening Monday through Friday at 4 p.m., opening Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m., closing Sunday through Thursday, 11 p.m., Friday and Saturday at midnight. The rear yard is going to open at those same times, 9 a.m. on the weekends, 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, but it's going to close 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Anyone want to make any amendments based on that information?
Yes, I just wanted to quickly ask the community members, I guess Ms. Emily, is the 9 a.m. in the back opening going to pose an issue to the neighbors who are around it?
I'm going to punt that to Martin. He's going to be the most directly affected. Martin?
I really wish that this was not the case. That we're gonna have this long hours of chatter at the backyard, because as I said, and others have echoed, that the echo is a huge issue in the backyard, and it just really, I think it really impacts the quality of life of the residents. We know that we're in a free enterprise system, and there's not much we can do to avoid a venture like this. But a lot of us have invested heavily into having this space that we came to at a certain stage in our lives, and it was at a certain state of quietude. And now, it just seemed like there was a proliferation of this kind of, noise and, just really, impacting on the quality of life. Wish that the 9 a.m. On a Sunday will not be a reality. And yeah, we really, there's a lot of noise up front. As you know, this is a highway, Rogers Avenue, and we retreat to the backyard for some respite. And now we're not going to have peace at front nor at the back, and this really sucks. I just wanted to express that.
Yeah, definitely heard you. Thanks.
Ms. Gibbs, I see your hand.
That is exactly why I specified this clarification for the opening times of both indoor and outdoor, because I heard that coming up. But I just wanted to be clear of that. Thank you so much, Mr. Gatekeeper of all timekeeping.
Yeah, this is where I wish I could just sort of share a screen and change things as we go. But
could I just respond?
Please do, Mr. Rich.
We put that there as to have in our back pocket. When we open, we will not be opening early in the day on Saturday and Sunday unless things go so well for us and everything's great that in 6 months or a year we decide we want to do that type of lunch service, brunch service, whatever you want to call it. So for your peace of mind, at least in the time being, we have no intention of doing that yet. I don't see that happening for quite a while.
Let me just also make this clear to everyone that you have the absolute right to serve people food and non-alcoholic drinks outside at any time that you want. This is only about serving alcohol. So to Mr. Felix's comment, yeah, we could move the time to noon or something, but that doesn't stop the proprietors from still letting non-drinking patrons out there. So it doesn't really squarely address the chatter question.
Yeah,
It could
just
be,
letting people know where our thinking is at the moment.
does all this change, Ms. Mitchell, Ms. Branch Mohammed? Do you wish to make any amendments to your motion?
Yes, I do actually. It does change a couple things. And I'm going back to the applicants. I get exactly what you're saying. So how about can we, and you know, Mr. Witherwax, where I'm going to go with this, right? Keep the hours for 9 a.m., but ask you not to actually open and serve in the back.
And I'm going to say to you, Ms. Mitchell, the same thing I said earlier, which is
Can't do that, Tamika. No.
It's really burdensome on the proprietor, and it's unclear, and it just we've tried it in the past.
Right.
It's unadministrable. So bright lines. Let's stick
Okay,
to
well
bright
then
lines.
I will, the one thing that I would ask though, or that, and you've heard me ask this before, is about the Sundays. It's about Sundays, trying to not open at 9 a.m. Maybe even, but you eventually may have brunch out there. The applicant may eventually want to do brunch, which is understandable. So maybe 11 o'clock. I don't know what to ask for, to be honest with you, in terms of the outdoor opening, but it does feel like 9 a.m. is really, really early. And even though you're not planning on using it right now, what would be the harm in, let's say that, and which we hope is that everything's going to go so great that you are going to need that space and you are going to need to have those hours, about maybe going for later at this point and then asking to increase those hours at the next renewal.
So let me put it out there. 11 a.m. Saturday and Sunday. For now. And if, again, this goes off like a rocket and you want to come back and amend to serve liquor earlier, we'll consider that. But Mimi, does that sound like a good amendment for your motion?
I think that
Gail, is that good with you?
If it's good with the proprietor.
Palmer, 11 a.m. for now to start on the Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah, let's just go with that for now, and we'll see. Like Dane said, we're not planning. I mean, in practice, this is for Martin especially, because Martin's my next door neighbor here. Especially in practice, we're it's not going to be filling up at 4 o'clock. It's we're talking about a 6 to 8 or 9 kind of a situation in all normal scenarios. I'm sensitive to what you're saying, but I don't think it's going to be like packed back there for at all hours. At this point it's probably going to be like exactly what we're talking about, 5 to 9, basically.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone's flexibility on this. I'm going to have to move the agenda along because we've been at this an hour and we still have another third item. So I am going to call for the vote on this. Jack and Dolly's, the motion is to support. This is 89 Rogers Avenue. 84 Rogers Avenue.
Yeah.
Support the application as presented with the sole exception that the outdoor hours of operations are amended so that 7 days a week service is over by 9 p.m. and on Saturday and Sunday it doesn't begin until 11 a.m. Gail Branch Mohammed.
Yes.
Thank you. Diane Duke. Tamika Gibbs.
Yes.
Thank you. Jennifer Jordan.
Yes.
Thank you. Zuzima Jordan.
Yes.
Thank you. Mimi Mitchell.
Yes.
Thank you. Roger Myers. Thank you. Fiora Ortiz Joyner.
Yes.
Robert Puka.
Yes.
Thank you. Robert Puka's cat. All right. Brian Saunders. Thank you. Mark Thurton. Ethel Tyus. Gib Vaconi.
Yes.
Thank you. Robert Sharon Wedderburn.
Yes.
Thank you. Robert Witherwax, yes. Deborah Young.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry, who was that?
Ms. Duke, yes.
Thank you, Ms. Duke.
Yes.
Gotcha. So the motion passes unanimously, 14 in favor. Thank you, Ms. Mitchell and Ms. Branch Mohammed for the motion. Thank you, Mr. Risch and Mr. Thompson for your time tonight. See you a week from Thursday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now, without further ado, move on to, and thank you again, Ms. Bowen, Mr. Felix, Mr. Dean, for coming out, Mr. Roque. Thank you for, again, as Ms. Mitchell said earlier, your interest and concern about the community. Like I said, it's easier to get it right now than fix it up later. Ms. Mohammed.
Just a reminder about the full board meeting.
Yes, a week from Thursday at St. Joseph's Cathedral on Dean Street off of Vanderbilt. 6:15, I think. All right. Thank you. All right, moving on. Provided you guys are still here. Vanessa Price, Patrick Agard, right?
Yes, good evening.
Great, good evening. You are here for Island Rib House LLC, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Great, thank you for your patience. The corporate name, Island Rib House LLC. Do you have a trade name, a DBA yet?
I believe she's operating under the name Island Rib House. Miss Vanessa, I think
Yes.
she's still on. Yes, okay.
Yes,
Oh,
I
you're the
am.
first.
My computer just died. It was dying on me, but go ahead.
You were like the first. You were like the first person here when the
I
meeting
know.
started.
I'm trying to put on my camera. Where is it? Where is it? Okay.
Take your time. I'm just going to read again. I'm going to read this into the record. Then we'll come back to you with specific questions, and then we'll open the floor for comments and questions. So,
sure.
Island Rib House LLC, 611 Nostrand, and that's between Dean and Bergen.
Correct.
And this is going to be a restaurant serving full liquor license, wine, beer, and cider. You will have recorded music. You may have occasional live music. Number of tables. There'll be 8 tables with 14 seats and 1 bar. Do you know how many seats are going to be at that bar?
Actually, we don't have an actual bar to sit, so it's more of a dining situation.
Just a service bar, right? For
service,
staff to
correct.
go to.
Correct.
Great. Okay. So your number of patron capacity, you've got 8 tables with 14 seats, so 14, right? Is that the
Correct. That's fair.
max at any given time? Great. So your hours of operation, you're going to be closed on Monday, and every other day of the week, you're going to open at 11 a.m. and close at 11 p.m., correct?
Correct.
Great. And you, unlike our last 2 applicants, do not have any outdoor space, correct?
No, not at all.
Thank you. Though if you wish to participate in the open restaurants program, I do encourage you to do so, as we do all of our establishments. Will there be any entertainment options inside? Karaoke, comedy, sports games? No.
No.
Will there be amplified sound? No. Will you have soundproofing? Yes, there's soundproofing in the ceiling. So I just want to connect back, because earlier you did say that you might have live music. That would be acoustic only, right?
Correct.
Okay. Number of employees, 5 to 7. No security personnel, no security measures. We do encourage people, eyes on the street, even an outdoor facing camera or something like that helps
Yes, we do.
everybody. Good. Okay.
Yeah, we
So-
do. We have over like 17 cameras.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. Other security measures, 17 cameras. Excellent. Wow. Number of residences in the building where the premises is located, 6. Number of residences in buildings adjacent, left, right, and rear as another 6. I want to note that you did provide the 500-foot schedule. So there are no churches within 200 feet. There's Bedford Central's 201 feet away. Good for that extra foot.
I know, right?
Then we get liquor licenses within 500 feet. There are 2 within 500 feet, and then again, Sweet Brooklyn Bar is at 560 feet. So you're just under the cusp of the 500-foot exceptions. This is I'm surprised. I thought Nostrand would be full up by now. The one thing I didn't see in the application packet that made it onto the Dropbox was notice, right? Notice to the neighbors that you are going to be appearing here tonight. So
Yeah, I actually posted.
so you put photos up. Hold on, I'm looking at it of the interior, which looks great. And then there's a picture of the front door of the establishment, and then a close-up of the so you can see the sign is on the front door of the establishment. But what we generally do ask for and didn't see is pictures of the same notice on adjacent doors. Did you put this notice up on other doors around you?
Actually, the strangest thing, I asked the tax corporation across the street if I could, and he said he had to speak to his manager, so I didn't want to offend anyone. So timidly, I just said, okay, I'm just going to, put it in that format. But if I have to do it again, I'll go back and, reiterate and ask if it's okay again.
So, you understand the concern, right? If we have this meeting and nobody knows about it, what good was this meeting, right? You've seen, as you've sat here all night, you've seen other people who knew about their meetings come out and speak about. We want to give everybody the opportunity to know that this is coming. Again, you don't have a backyard. It's not going to be perhaps the similar level of interest, but we just want to make sure that nobody can ever turn around and say, hey, I didn't know that was coming. When was that meeting? Well, there was a notice out there, right? So we may, as tonight goes on, we'll see, we may ask you to put up some notice for the full board meeting. That's something we sometimes do when it's kind of questionable. But at this point, did I miss anything in the overview that you want to tell the community and tell the committee about your establishment?
No, I think you've covered everything in regards to that. It is a dine-in. It's very limited seating. It's exclusive in the fact that it's a to-go as well. So basically, it's prepared food at the moment. So it's like almost like you're going into a restaurant. Everything is freshly cooked at the moment that you're there. And of course, to be takeout or to dining with limited seating.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and suggest it's going to be rib based, right?
Correct. So we have ribs, shrimp, lobster, lamb burgers, veggies. So it's a variety of poultry that we have alongside with different sides. So yes.
All right. Any particular island of origin for
well, actually, my parents are from Trinidad. But I think the island in itself is unique to its own type of barbecue. And I don't think anyone in the area quite has that. So that's why I wanted to tap into that and move forward with something of that authentic flavor and grill.
Perfect. Thank you. Does anyone in the community at large have any questions for Ms. Price or Mr. Agard? I don't think we have anyone left from the community at large. Is anyone on the committee? Anyone? Gail Branch Muhammad, go right ahead.
Yes, I just want to suggest to Ms. Price to make sure that there is a posting. I had someone go out today to take a picture of it, and they did not see any. So I'm strongly suggesting that you make it, if you have it, that it's visible.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Muhammad. Anybody else? Ms. Gibbs?
I'm sorry, I had to find my buttons. This will be a full restaurant, correct?
Correct. Full takeout and dine in if you choose
Okay,
to.
that's what I was checking for. I'm just notifying my husband of the cuisine on Nostrand, which is walking distance from my home. That's all.
So what?
No worries.
With the, let me just interject with a question. So the dine-in, of course, the liquor will be for that. Are you looking for like a cocktail menu, or what's the?
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be a cocktail menu as well. For that is limited, but yes, there's a cocktail menu.
Okay, Ms. Rosado.
Hello, this is Celine
Hello.
Rosado. I'm your neighbor.
Oh, nice to meet you. Hope we meet in person.
Yes, and also the current president of the North Nostrand Avenue Merchant Association. We meet every month on the first Monday, and just wanted to know if you'd be interested in being a member of the Merchants Association.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. I'll put my contact information in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rosado. Anybody else? Ms. Gibbs, your hand is still up or up again?
Yes, I have another question. I'm sorry.
Will you be using the outdoor in front of your the sidewalk cafe?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, thank you. Then that's what that was the end of my question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, then somebody knows what's next. Somebody needs to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to support the full liquor license for I think it was 611. I'm sorry. What was the name of the I know the address. I'm sorry. I'm like 611 Nostrand. Ribbon Bar.
Island Rib House.
Island Rib House. I'm sorry. I'd like to make a motion that the committee supports the license for the Island Rib
House.
Island Rib House. Thank you so much. I'm sorry.
Okay, great.
You're fine.
Can I get a second from anybody?
Second.
Who was that?
Deb Young.
Thank you, Deb. Okay, and now it's time for my cat, of course. Any comments or questions on the motion? I would like to make one friendly amendment, and it's sort of an amendment, sort of just a request of the proprietor. Can you put up a notice about next Thursday's full board meeting and try to make sure that it goes at least a couple doors on either side of you? Just again, so your immediate neighbors, the residents, know that an establishment that might be serving liquor is coming. So don't ask.
Absolutely.
Just do it and
Just
take a picture of it.
Okay, I will. Okay, I certainly will do that as early as tomorrow morning. Yes.
Great. I don't think it needs to be an amendment, but
Okay. Thank you.
For the record. Thank you.
For the record, we'll hold it against you if you don't do it.
Oh, no. You will. I will take care of that.
But most
Thank you,
importantly,
guys.
take a picture and email it to the community board office. All right.
Absolutely.
And
Thank
in
you,
fact,
guys.
why don't you reach out to the community board office first, because they may have a special language for the full board meeting that's different than that's different than what you had to post for today. So reach out to Julia in the office tomorrow, and you'll work it out. All right. Great.
Alrighty. Sounds good.
Any other questions on the motion? Great. Let's go to the roll call. Gail Branch Mohammed.
Yes.
Thank you. Diane Duke. Back around. Tamika Gibbs.
Yes.
Thank you. Jennifer Jordan.
Yes.
Thank you. Zerzima Jordan.
Yes.
Thank you. Mimi
Duke,
Mitchell.
yes.
Ms. Duke, yes. Ms. Mitchell, yes. Thank you both. Roger Myers. Thank you. Fiora Ortiz Joyner.
Yes.
Thank you. Robert Puka.
Yes.
Thank you. Brian Saunders. Close Mr. Saunders for a minute. Give the Coney.
Yes.
Thank you. Sharon Wedderburn.
Yes.
Thank you. Robert Witherwax, yes. Deborah Young.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes 13 in favor. Yeah, 13 in favor.
Mr. Witherwax, Brian Saunders said yes via the chat.
Oh, there we go. And now we hit our 14. Thank you, Ms. Ortiz Joyner. There we go. Great. All in favor, unanimous votes. So again, next Thursday, the 11th of May at St. Joseph's Cathedral, 6:15. We will see you there.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Bye now.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Agard. Have a good night. Thank you for coming. Does anyone on the committee have any further business, new business, old business, risky business?
Hi, this is Oliver. I have one minor announcement. This is my last meeting as for the SLA meeting here. I'll be moving out of the city, and I was on this committee for like 7 or 8 years in various voting and non-voting, and it's been a lot of fun working with all of you, and I wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Thank you for your service to the community and the committee. And Brooklyn's loss. It's somewhere else's gain, I suppose.
All the best.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye, Oliver, to you, your wife, and to the baby. Which must
Thank you very
be
much. She's not a baby anymore. She's a big
say.
She's a big girl now. You've all heard about her growing up from being a baby to a big girl. So thank you very much, everyone.
They do that. Thank you, Oliver.
All the best.
Any other new business, old business? Well, thank you all for a good meeting.
There are some hands up.
There's some hands up.
Oh, of course
Let's
there are.
go. Let's go Rangers.
Well, let's go Rangers. Right, fine, okay. I'm guessing that everybody who wasn't here tonight was actually at the Met Gala, I'm presuming, but we'll go with that. All right, I see Miss Gibbs, Mr. Vacconi, and Miss Price. So yeah, let's do it that.
Sorry, I don't have my hand up. Let me take my hand down.
All right, Mr. Vacconi and Miss Price.
Hi, I just wanted to make a quick statement that I think I mentioned before. I was having difficulty reaching the folks at Restoration who had agreed to become kind of our workforce development partner for referrals from this committee. So that's kind of up in the air right now. The people who I've last contacted either aren't there or they're not responding. So I can't say that we have an active partner in that respect at this point.
All right, duly noted. We'll see what we can figure out. And maybe this is something that we can talk to our
council people,
elected people about. You know, somebody's got to know somebody. Miss Price, did you have anything you wanted to add, or is your hand up for? Oh, Miss Muhammad.
Yeah, just quickly, are there any new board members in the SLA meeting tonight? Or have we received notice about new board members?
I don't see any unfamiliar names who look like they're here under the guise of being a new board member. I have heard through the grapevine of one or two people who I happen to know personally who've been appointed, but I don't know any. I don't think the board office has heard officially yet.
No, we've not received the official membership list yet.
Thank you.
Julia.
I was going to say that, but I didn't know she was still here because I was reappointed and I just found out via email last week.
Yeah, should be an interesting reshuffle. Any other new business, old business, board gossip, whatever we want to talk about?
We're still being recorded, Mr. Witherwax. We're still on YouTube.
Thank you for the reminder, Ms. Gibbs. All right. Well, that being said, before I get myself in any trouble, I'm going to say, take a motion to adjourn.
Second that motion.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night, and I'll see you in a week.
Good night.